He's the world's most successful moneymaker. Warren Buffett has more money than the gross domestic products of more than half the world's countries.
I think you guys are earning your money.
And he made it all by simply investing in the right companies.
Some people are better at certain things than others. I'm better at making money than most people.
I'm better at making money than most people. I'm better at making money than most people. I'm better at making money than most people.
I'm sure by now we have all heard about the great and the legendary Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha. But if you haven't heard of him, Warren Buffett is a self-made billionaire, someone who has become a billionaire and a huge success in the stock market.
Buffett is different. He's built a huge business empire and has developed his own special way of running it.
He's a unique leader. I can't think of anyone close.
In this video, I'll be playing his greatest advice. He's someone we can all learn from, whether we are new to investing or veterans. But before we get started, I want to ask you guys to give me a thumbs up. It really helps my channel, so let's try to get this video to 100 likes. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that notification bell and subscribe, because I upload almost daily.
And the most important thing to keep in mind if you're investing in stocks is what?
It's always getting more for your money than you pay. it's like buying anything else.
What's the biggest mistake people make, though?
Well, the biggest mistake they make is listening to a lot of other people and buying something because they think it's going to go up next week or next month. And for whatever reason people give you, you should understand what you buy. Now, if you buy a farm, you look at the farm and you say, I expect to get so many bushels per acre of corn or soybeans, and you figure out how much that'll be worth, and then you figure out what the price should be. If you buy an apartment house, you look at what the rentals will be and what the taxes and expenses will be, and then you decide how much income you'll have, and you pay a fair price for that. But you don't, in stocks, people, their neighbor whispers something to them, and they run out and spend money that it took them years to earn. So you always want to look at the productive ability of the asset you're buying, whether it's a farm, apartment house, or a company, but the company is represented by a stock. And if you always get your money's worth, you'll do very well.
The most important thing is to be able to define which ones you can come to an intelligent decision on and which ones are beyond your capacity to evaluate. You don't have to be right about thousands and thousands and thousands of companies. You only have to be right about a couple. I met Bill Gates on July 5th, 1991. We were out in Seattle, and Bill said, you've got to have a computer. And I said, why? And he said, well, he said, you can do your income tax on it. I said, I don't have any income. Berkshire doesn't pay a dividend. He said, well, you can keep track of your portfolio. And I said, I only have one stock. I said, and he says, it's going to change everything. And I said, well, will it change whether people chew gum? And he said, well, probably not. And I said, well, will it change what kind of gum they chew? And not. And I said, well, then I'll stick to chewing gum and you stick to computers, I don't have to understand all kinds of business. There's all kinds of business I don't understand. But there's thousands of opportunities there. I did understand the Bank of America, and I'll be able, I'm able to do that. I'm able to understand some given percentage. But Ted Williams wrote a book called The Science of Hitting. And in The Science of Hitting, he's got a diagram, shows him at the plate. And he's got the strike zone divided into 77 squares, each the size of a baseball. And he says, if I only swing at pitches in my sweet zone, which he shows there, and he has what his batting average would be, which is 400. If he had to swing at low outside pitches, but still in the strike zone, his average would be 230. He said the most important thing in hitting is waiting for the right pitch. Now, he was at a disadvantage because if the count was 0-2 or 1-2 or so on, even if that ball was down where he was only going to bat 230, he had to swing at it. In investing, there's no called strikes. People can throw Microsoft at me and, you name it, any stock, General Motors, and I don't have to swing. And nobody's going to call me out on called strikes. I only get a strike called if I swing at a pitch and miss. So I can wait there and look at thousands of companies day after day, and only when I see something I understand and when I like the price at which it's selling, then if I swing, if I hit it, fine. If I miss it, it's a strike. But it's an enormously advantageous game. And it's a terrible mistake to think you have to have an opinion on everything. You only have to have an opinion on a few things. In fact, I've told students if when they got out of school, they got a punch card with 20 punches on it, and that's all the investment decisions they got to make in their entire life, they would get very rich because they would think very hard about each one. And you don't need 20 right decisions to get very rich. 4 or 5 will probably do it over time. So I don't worry too much about the things I don't understand. If you understand some of these businesses that are coming along and can spot things on, if you can spot on Amazon, for example, I mean, it's a tremendous accomplishment what Jeff Bezos has done. And I tip my hat to him. He's a wonderful businessman. He's a good guy, too. But could I have anticipated that he would be the success and 10 others wouldn't be? I'm not good enough to do that. But fortunately, I don't have to. I don't have to form an opinion on Amazon. And I did form an opinion on the Bank of America, and I formed an opinion on Coca-Cola. I mean, Coca-Cola's been around since 1886. There's 1.8 billion 8-ounce servings of Coca-Cola products sold every day. Now, if you take 1 penny and get 1 penny extra, that's $18 million a day. And 18 million times 365 is 7 billion, 3 less 730 billion, or $6,570 million. So annually, $6,570 million from 1 penny. Do you think Coca-Cola is worth a penny more than Joe's Cola? I think so. So, and I've got about 127 years of history that would indicate it. So those are the kind of decisions I like to make. And you may have an entirely different field of expertise than I would have, and probably much more up to date in terms of the kind of businesses that we're seeing evolve. And you can get very rich if you just understand a few of them and understand their future.
Warren, a central tenet of your investing is to invest for the long term. And this comes from Brian White, who says, how might Bill and Warren convince investors to think beyond short-term returns to encourage world-changing innovation?
Well, I've spent my life trying to convince people of investing for the long term. Listen, if I knew how to double my money tomorrow, I'd probably invest for the short term too. It's much easier to invest for the long term if you're just talking pure investment, because you know what's going to, in my view, be very high probability what's going to happen 10 and 20 years from now in a major way, and I don't have the faintest idea what's going to happen tomorrow or next week. But if you're talking about societal, it's very tough because politicians face elections either every 2 years or 6 years, and the way particularly congressional districts have been organized, primaries have become more and more important, and so it's very hard to have politicians think of something that's wonderful for the country for 20 years, but will cost them the election 2 years from now. And that's a basic problem in a democracy, and it gets to be more of a problem as we've arranged congressional districts so the primary dominates, because a very limited number of people turn out, and their motive, they tend to be on the extremes of both parties. So it's not easy.
Whether you're going to make an investment in a company or whether you're going to buy the company, what are the factors that you're looking for? What test?
I'm looking for durable competitive advantage. I'm looking for something that has a moat around it for a considerable period of time. And I'm looking for an honest and able management to run it, because I don't know how to run it myself. And I'm looking for a purchase price that's not excessive. But it's better to pay a little too much for something that's a very good business than it is to buy some bargain, but really a company without much of a future. And I don't know. I don't have a ability to predict with a high probability of success the future of most companies. So I'm looking for the exception. But the nice thing is, if there's thousands of companies out there, I really only have to be right on a couple. I mean, it's exactly the opposite of baseball, where you have called strikes, and the pitcher's trying to throw it to you at the worst part of the strike zone for you. And if he succeeds in getting into that corner 3 times and you don't swing, you're out. And in investing, it's a no called strike thing. So I can sit there all day and somebody can throw me one company after another, and finally I get one in my sweet spot.
Both of you have chosen both wives and partners well. Charlie Munger added what to you?
Oh, Charlie Munger changed
my views. He refined them in a huge way in terms of looking for the quality companies and looking for the ability to make an investment that would work out well for 5 or 10 or 20 years, as opposed to something there might be one, I call it cigar butt investing, where there was one puff left in the cigar, but the cigar was free, so you picked up these disgusting looking things and got one puff out of them and went on to another one. And that worked okay, but it was small scale, and it really doesn't build something satisfying. So he kept forcing me in the direction of saying, you know, is this really a business we want to own for forever? And do we want to get associated? It's like a marriage. I mean, you want to get associated with this person forever. And it's a great way to look at things.
Well, anyways, that's it on Warren Buffett. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment in the comment section if you like videos like this and I can post more. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that notification bell and smash that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.